I eloped with a stranger. After the wedding, he claimed he worked as a bricklayer on construction sites. I said I sold fish at the market until the auction. Holding the painting I'd just won, I bumped into my new husband, who was clutching the diamond necklace he'd just secured. Pressured by my old father to marry, I impulsively eloped with a stranger. That night, I slammed the marriage certificate on my father's desk. Tears streaming down his face, he clutched my mother's photo. Our daughter is finally married. I must go prepare the wedding gifts. The next day, an $8 million villa in the suburbs. 3 spacious apartments downtown, 2 condos, and several priceless treasures were delivered to me. I smiled sweetly. Dad, I want to start a company. Dad nodded vigorously. Before I left, he took my hand earnestly. Keep your net worth under wraps for now. Observe him. If he's after your money, cut your losses immediately. Got it? That evening, I returned home. To a neighborhood older than I was. The hallway lights flickered on and off, creating a horror movie vibe. The moment I opened the door, a pungent sweat odor hit me. My gaze fell on a discarded construction worker's uniform lying on the floor. Hearing the sound, a man emerged from the bathroom. Fresh from his shower, he was wrapped only in a towel around his waist, revealing well-defined ABS and healthy, tan skin. Not an ounce of excess fat marred his physique. My gaze drifted upward to his face. His features were sharp and defined, thin, red lips, a nose sculpted by divine hands. That face alone was enough to stir my heart. And then there was his physique and aura. Right, my newlywed husband. He didn't look like a construction worker at all. You're back? Philly looked at me. His almond-shaped eyes seemed capable of bewitching anyone, and the perfectly placed under-eye bags made even his gaze toward a dog appear deeply affectionate. Suppressing the ripples in my heart, I lifted the fish, shrimp, and meat in my hands. You worked hard today. I'm bringing you some nourishment. Thanks. We're husband and wife. No need for formalities. He took the groceries from my hands, his eyes crinkling slightly. You're right, my dear. Thank you for your hard work. I'll go change. What a pity once he changed, I wouldn't get to see those abs anymore. I headed to the kitchen to prepare dinner. After learning from the family chef for half a month, my cooking wasn't masterful, but at least it was passable. By the time Philly emerged, I had 3 dishes and a soup ready. Beef stewed with carrots, grilled fish, broccoli salad, and a light soup. Felix took a bite, his eyes lighting up. Honey, your cooking keeps getting better. You bet. When we were newlyweds, I forced myself to cook for him once. That day, he drank a whole bucket of water. Later, I found every chance to sneak home and learn from my mom. All that time spent flipping spatulas in the kitchen wasn't wasted. Here's this month's pay. Yours to manage. Phil pulled a wad of cash from his pocket and handed it to me. I counted it over 5,000. 5,000? Not even enough for the change on a set of my skincare products. But I took it anyway, then pulled out $1,000 to give back to him. He looked puzzled. Why are you giving me money? I'd had my assistant research several ordinary families before. Typically, the man handed over his salary. The woman managed the household, but she'd also give her husband some pocket money. Had I been giving him too little? So I pulled out another 500. Is this enough? Felix smiled and pushed my hand away. Silly girl. The construction site provides meals, and I don't really need money for anything. Keep it for yourself. Go buy some clothes. I was deeply moved. Even though he was so poor, he was willing to give me everything he had. This man I'd chosen right. Eat up, I said, serving him a large piece of beef. You do physical labor every day. You need to eat more. When I mentioned physical labor, he gave me a meaningful look. I'm not tired yet. I pretended not to understand. The next morning when I woke up, he was already gone, but he'd left bread and coffee on the table. Felix usually worked a full day, sometimes even pulling overtime. So during the day, I had plenty of freedom. My dad called. Sweetheart, the company has everything sorted out for you. When is your boss coming in to start? My face lit up. Anytime. My dad was the seafood king. He made his first fortune selling fish when he was young, Then his business skyrocketed like a rocket. How to describe our family business? Let me put it this way. My dad practically monopolized the entire national seafood market, not counting international operations. When I arrived at the company, the general manager led the staff in a welcoming line. "Good morning, boss." I strode in like a queen in my high heels, nodding in acknowledgement. On my first day, I focused on getting familiar with the company. Before I knew it, it was already 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock was Philly's quitting time. Just as I was thinking about it, Philly called, "Honey, I finished work early today." "Where are you?" "I'll pick you up." "Let's grab dinner." My scalp tightened. "Where are you now?" "Just left the construction site, waiting for a ride." No rush then. "I'm selling fish. I'll meet you directly, no need to come pick me up." With that, I hung up. Before we got married, Philly said he was just a bricklayer and politely asked what I did for a living. To match his job and avoid making him feel inferior, I said I sold fish. I called my assistant. "Go get me a set of clothes that smells like fish." Though confused, the assistant quickly prepared it and asked, "Boss, should the driver take you or will you drive?" "Which car?" "No need. I'll take the subway." The assistant's mouth formed an O after dinner. Philly said he'd take me somewhere. The place was too far to reach on foot. Philly spotted a shared bike, raised an eyebrow, and asked, "Want a ride?" "Sure." That night, we had a wonderful time, both physically and emotionally. Philly went to the construction site as usual, while I transformed from a fish-selling girl into the company's boss. My assistant reported my schedule. "Boss, you have a dinner meeting with Wilson, the general manager of Gus Group, at 7 tonight." Tonight, Phil said he wouldn't be home for dinner. There were matters at the construction site that might keep him until midnight or later. He'd sleep in the simple dormitory there. I said I had plans tonight too. He asked, "What are you doing?" I blurted out a lie. "I have to deliver fish to the Grand Hotel." At 7 o'clock, I arrived at my destination. As soon as I stepped out of the car, I spotted a familiar figure. It was Philly. He seemed like a different person. A well-tailored suit accentuated his tall, slender frame. His face was as fair as jade, his expression solemn and cool, utterly unlike the Philly I knew. My first thought was, had I mistaken him for someone else? He wasn't supposed to be at the construction site. Why was he here, dressed so smartly? As if sensing something, he looked over. I quickly covered my face. Seeing my furtive behavior, my assistant looked puzzled. "Boss, what's wrong?" "She don't call me boss." "Let's go through another door." My assistant, completely bewildered, was dragged along by me. But the heavens love playing games. You try to avoid someone and fate makes you bump right into them. Yeah, pure fun. When Philly and I locked eyes across the dinner table, our expressions were priceless. "Ruby, what are you doing here? Didn't you go deliver fish?" "Honey, what are you doing here?" "Aren't you working overtime at the construction site?" We blurted out in unison, then clamped our mouths shut simultaneously. My mind raced for excuses, at least one flawless one. Like, how did a fish-selling girl like me end up at a high-end dinner party carrying a bag worth hundreds of thousands, dressed head to toe in outfits worth millions? But how did Philly even get here? His outfit alone cost hundreds of thousands, not to mention that watch on his wrist. Enough to buy an apartment. Meeting my suspicious gaze, Phil cleared his throat. "My boss isn't feeling well today, so he sent me in last minute. The suit and watch are his." Just as the tension thickened, a waiter entered carrying wine. I recognized that bottle a single sip could cost tens of thousands. If my husband were truly penniless and forced into this, he'd never know about this wine. "Let me handle it." I reached for the bottle, but my hand slipped. The wine crashed to the floor, spilling everywhere. Upper-class wine connoisseurs, especially those with prized collections, would surely wince at such waste, but his first concern wasn't the expensive red wine. It was me. "Are you hurt?" He grabbed my hand, examining it carefully, his eyes filled with concern. "Be more careful next time." My face twisted with regret. "But the wine." Felix shrugged indifferently. "It's just a bottle of red wine." You can get dozens for a few bucks at the supermarket. I breathed a sigh of relief. I believed he was genuinely just filling in. Still, I was surprised my husband enjoyed such trust from the boss. Felix explained, I saved the boss on a construction site before, so he treats me differently. Oh, I nodded. I see. So Ruby, what brings you here? Phil's eyes were bright as he looked at me. Oh crap, I hadn't even made up an excuse yet. Should I use the same one as him? Actually, I'm a bit embarrassed to tell you, but I used to know the company boss. She had a blind date tonight and couldn't make it, so she asked me to fill in. I pointed to the bag. This bag is hers. The clothes and jewelry are hers too. Felix chuckled. Well, we've scored a free meal then. Let's eat our fill. We ordered another bottle of red wine. Felix stopped me. Ruby, the wine here is expensive. I batted my eyelashes. Don't worry. Someone else is covering the entire bill tonight. All we have to do, eat and drink. Felix winked back mischievously. You're right, my dear wife. The term my dear wife made my cheeks flush. During the meal, I excused myself to the restroom. I called my assistant, get me a small electric scooter immediately. Preferably secondhand, not brand new. Hurry. After giving instructions, I smoothed my clothes and returned to the private room with a smile. On the other end, Phil had just put down his phone. Clearly, he'd been on a call too. Was it his boss calling? Felix held up his phone. My boss called. He said the partnership is finalized. He'll have someone deliver the contract tomorrow. Tell your friend to relax. I never expected my first deal to go so smoothly. I could barely contain the smile spreading across my lips. Yeah, she'd be thrilled. We're done here. Let's head back. Sounds good. I nodded. At the entrance, a slightly worn pink electric scooter was parked. The assistant messaged, Boss, you wanted it so urgently. Used scooters are hard to find. I managed to get this from a young lady at double the price, costing more than a new one. I put away my phone and pointed to the scooter in the distance. Want to ride home? I ride too, Philly said with a twinkle in his eye, gesturing toward a bicycle. Parked beside the fountain. You rode here on a bike? I gasped. In that suit? Philly looked utterly innocent. Is there a problem? I shook my head. Silently, I cursed under my breath. Nothing really, except I wonder if your boss would hold you accountable if the bike scratched his expensive suit. The next day, Gus Corporation sent their representative with the contract. The deal was signed smoothly. My dad somehow got wind of it and transferred $10 million to me. Celebrate closing your first deal, sweetheart. Go buy something you like. I protested verbally, but accepted the $10 million anyway. Since I was partnering with Gus Group, I planned to visit their construction site first. And Felicia happened to be working there. I intended to sneak in and surprise him. I told Felicia that because of my help that day, such a big deal had been closed, and my friend wanted to thank me by letting me work at her company. Felicia patted me tenderly. That's good. Of course it was. I couldn't stand the fishy smell every day. I had my assistant buy me plenty of affordable clothes and bags, took off all my jewelry, and went for a completely plain look. My assistant didn't understand. Boss, they said clothes make the man, and gold adorns the Buddha. Especially in business, if you dress poorly or your ride isn't flashy enough, the other party won't take you seriously. Why are you doing the opposite? Because I need to maintain my cover, I warned my assistant. When we get to the construction site, don't keep calling me boss. Just call me Ruby. The assistant shook his head wildly. No bonus if you don't. He looked like he had a stomachache. At the construction site, the sun beat down fiercely. Dust swirled everywhere, and even the sprinklers couldn't alleviate it by even 1/10,000th. Thinking of Phil working in such harsh conditions made my heart ache. I claimed to love him, yet to test his devotion, I kept deceiving and hiding things from him. I didn't know if I was doing the right thing. Who are you looking for? A worker with a thick accent asked us. Oh, I'm here to find Philly. Philly? No such person here. The older worker scratched his head, utterly confused. Did you get the wrong place? I frowned. This was definitely the right place. Just as I was about to ask again, a younger worker ran over. You must be heat crazed. How could there not be a filly on our site? Look, there he is. The young worker gave me a simple, honest smile. Sis, the guy you're looking for is over there. He pointed off in the distance. As I walked away, I could still hear the older worker's voice. When did we ever get a filly on the site? Shut up. I expected to see a dusty, sweat-soaked filly, but he wasn't. Wearing a hard hat and work clothes, he was directing others. He was naturally tall and slender with a refined face. Even in those plain work clothes, he was still captivating. I breathed a sigh of relief. Honey. Felix turned to look at me, surprise flickering in his eyes. What are you doing here? Didn't you hear? My boss had something come up today, so she sent me to check on the construction site. Oh, and this is my colleague Matt. Matt, accustomed to entertaining VIPs, performed a reflexive textbook bow. Nice to meet you. I pressed my hand to my forehead. Catching Philly's puzzle look, I awkwardly explained, Matt used to live abroad. I signaled to my assistant and Matt nodded. Bio, Ruby's right. Did you get promoted? I asked Philly. Yeah, I meant to tell you the other day, but I wanted to surprise you. I handed him the insulated box. Well, it's still a surprise, he murmured. Yeah, a huge one. That night, after intimacy, Phil held me close and said, Ruby, let's move to a new place. I've been meaning to bring this up for ages. This place is sweltering in summer and unbearably hot in winter. The roof leaks, the soundproofing is terrible, and every night when I get up to use the bathroom, I open the door to find cockroaches having a meeting. If my dad knew I lived in such conditions, he'd probably cry buckets of tears. Suddenly, an idea struck me. Honey, I was just about to tell you, my friend has a bunch of properties she can't manage, and she offered to rent one to us. It's downtown but not expensive because the owner's giving me a friend's discount. Seeing Philly didn't respond, I grew anxious. Honey, our salaries have both gone up. We should be able to afford this now, right? Philly looked at me. After a long moment, he sighed. Fine, whatever you say. His agreement made me... Oh, what were you going to say earlier? Felix forced a smile. My boss offered me a cheap place too. But since you've already booked it, I'll cancel mine now. The next day, while Felix was at work, I pretended to hire movers to pack up our old place. In reality, I tossed everything I could besides a few essentials. After the cleaners finished tidying the new apartment, gazing through the massive floor-to-ceiling windows, I finally felt truly alive. Beyond the windows lay the riverfront of full panoramic view. The place was fully smart home equipped, a 300-square-meter open-plan apartment with high-end finishes. I'd lied to Philly, saying the monthly rent was only $5,000. In this neighborhood, $50,000 a month wouldn't even cover it. That evening, I ordered a feast and waited for Philly to return. Red wine, steak, music, romance was in the air. Unfortunately, by 7:30 p.m., Philly said he was delayed and might be a while longer. Bored out of my mind, I opened the door to say hello to the neighbors. After all, we'd be seeing each other often. As the saying goes, better a good neighbor than a distant relative. But after ringing the doorbell several times, no one answered next door. Just as I was about to head back, the cleaning staff arrived to tidy up. The cleaning lady saw me looking for the neighbors and kindly said, "Looking for the folks next door? The owner doesn't live here." Not just this unit, either he owns the 3 downstairs, the 2 upstairs, and the penthouse too. Heard it's all his. Rich folks these days have more homes than they can live in, huh? Wow, richer than me. Around 8 p.m., Philly finally returned. He said after dinner he'd take me for a drive. I chuckled. On my scooter or your bike? He smiled, neither. Seeing the Aston Martin parked in the underground garage, I was stunned. Where did this come from? This car? My dad has one in his garage, nothing unusual about that. What surprised me was how could Philly afford to drive such a car? Could it be rented? But renting a sports car like this must cost a fortune per night. It belongs to my boss. His driver took leave for personal reasons, so I'm filling in temporarily to drive him around. He left the car with me. Oh, I murmured. A hint of doubt lingered in my heart. His mysterious boss sure was generous to him. Come on, let's go for a spin. Sure. I slid into the passenger seat, watching Phil skillfully handle the steering wheel. Dressed in a sharp suit, he looked dashing and commanding, his profile strikingly handsome, like a wealthy heir. This wasn't someone toiling away at a construction site. He glanced at me briefly. Why are you staring at me? I giggled. Because my husband is handsome. His gaze darkened, a wolfish fire smoldering within. Riding in a sports car felt nothing like riding an electric scooter. Both were open-air vehicles, but that lion-like growl and roar was something no scooter could mimic. I sighed contentedly. Ever since getting married to Philly, I hadn't taken a sports car for a spin in ages. Enjoying it? He asked. I squinted, letting the wind tousle my hair. If I could give you a better life someday, a life with a villa and a sports car, would you believe me? I opened my eyes to look at him. The mixture of testing and sincerity in his gaze was undeniable. Painting a rosy picture? Any other woman would probably scoff at such promises. But I felt genuinely happy. Honey, I said sweetly, meeting his eyes. Even though we're living in a rented luxury apartment and driving a sports car borrowed from the boss, we're enjoying it. I'm already content. He shook his head, his eyes brimming with affection. It's not enough. This isn't enough. I didn't probe the deeper meaning behind his words. A few days later, we ate barbecue at a street stall. Truthfully, I rarely ate at these kinds of stalls before. But since being with Philly after trying all sorts of food truck snacks, I realized foie gras and caviar weren't all that special or delicious anymore. Food, as long as it brings joy, is luxurious. While we ate, a middle-aged woman with a weathered face approached, holding up a sign for us to see. I glanced at it, feeling a pang of emotion. She said her son had fallen seriously ill and urgently needed surgery, requiring a large sum of money, but she had nothing. A man drinking nearby sneered. That kind of scam is outdated now. The owner came over to shoo her away. Tears welled in the woman's eyes as she looked imploringly at our table. Philippe stood up. How much do you need? He asked. We went to the hospital and confirmed the woman truly had a sick child in need of help. But the surgery and other costs totaled $500,000. $500,000 was near pocket change to me. I could have pulled it out on the spot to save a child's life. But if I did, how would I explain where such a large sum came from? In the end, we could only leave with regret. The next day, I had my assistant deliver the $500,000 to the woman. Soon after, my assistant reported, Boss, a kind soul already paid the $500,000 for them and left an extra $300,000 for the child's nutrition. Damn it, someone beat me to doing the good deed? Who did it? The feeling of being scooped left me unsettled. I asked, but they signed a confidentiality agreement and won't reveal a single detail. Never mind. Whoever paid as long as the child is saved. I hung up, wanting to share the good news with Faye, but then reconsidered. Better not. I just have to explain myself later. I picked a time and went back home. My dad was frantically looking for me. Something fishy was definitely up. The moment I walked in, he cut straight to the chase. Tomorrow night, there's an auction at the Kim Hotel. I can't make it, so you need to go my place. Oh, that's it. I might as well hang out with Phil, but the next second Phil called, Ruby, my boss has a dinner engagement tonight. I have to accompany him and might be back late. No problem, no problem. You go ahead with your plans. I'm meeting up with my girlfriends tonight, too, so I might be out late as well. All right, have fun. Okay, stay safe. After hanging up, I asked Dad, Dad, is what I'm doing unethical? What's immoral? Lying. One lie requires countless others to cover it up. I feel like I've tied myself in knots. The more lies I tell, the more I fear he won't be able to handle the truth when I finally tell him. Dad pondered. Actually, I lied to your mom before too. Huh? I was stunned. I told your mom I was a big shot in the seafood business, but really I was just a fishmonger at the market. When she found out the truth, she was furious and beat me up, but in the end, she forgave me. Why? Why did she do that? Because the details are what make love last. Even though she was furious, she remembered how I always cherished and cared for her, how I knew her every need and gave her the best of everything. And most importantly, I eventually turned that lie into reality. Only she didn't get to enjoy much of it. My dad grew wistful as he spoke. I felt a pang of sadness too. My mom had worked tirelessly alongside him through thick and thin, yet in the end, she couldn't grow old with him. Dad was a tough guy too. He swore he'd never remarry. Every night, he'd hold Mom's photo and stare at it all night long. But Dad, my situation is different, I fretted. Dad spoke earnestly, then apologized. Apologized sincerely. Oh, and that estate going up for auction tomorrow night? I've been thinking about it all morning. You have to help me win the bid. Otherwise, I'll disown you. Dad, you're switching sides way too fast. The next evening, dressed to the nines with my new handbag in hand, I rode in a luxury car to the Kim Hotel. Upon entering the venue, my arch-rival Amanda approached. Hey, long time no see. Where have you been digging coal? How'd you get so dark? I shot her a withering look. Amanda and I grew up together. We competed in grades, looks, degrees, family background. Of course, she always came up short in every category. I had gotten a bit darker lately. After all, I visited the construction site every other day to see Philippe. I heard from your uncle that you're married. Why haven't you introduced your husband? Is he not good enough? She covered her mouth, giggling, revealing a dazzling diamond ring. I smiled. My husband is too outstanding and handsome for just any Tom, Dick, or Harry to see. You... Amanda's pretty face flushed slightly as she shifted tactics. I heard your dad finally started a company for you. The new business must be struggling for clients, needs some help. I kept smiling. Thanks for the concern, but I've already landed a big order. Keep your petty cash for feeding your pets and buying handbags. Amanda was nearly in tears. Ruby, must you bully me the moment we meet? Tisk. She's always been like this. Can't win an argument? She turns it around and cries. What a loser. I couldn't be bothered with her and turned to walk away. She called after me. You're here to help Uncle snatch that morning at the manor painting, right? Sorry, but I'm determined to get it today too. I glanced back, my smile forced. Oh, well, good luck with that. She didn't seem upset, looking confident instead. Something's off. Can't underestimate her. The auction was about to begin. After a few insignificant items were auctioned off, the crucial morning at the manor appeared. I placed the first bid. Amanda followed immediately. I easily outbid her. But as my bids climbed higher, she seemed to go mad, matching me with bids twice as high. I started to panic. Last night, I'd volunteered to Dad that I'd win this painting with my own money as his birthday gift. Not a penny of his would touch it. But now, was I about to eat my words? 80 million going once, 80 million going twice. The auctioneer looked at me. 80 million. Hold on. 100 million. The words burst out impulsively. Amanda stared at me in shock. Ruby, have you lost your mind? I glared at her. It's all your fault for constantly going against me and driving up the price. The moment I said it, I regretted it. My assistant was on the verge of tears. She leaned close. Boss, we don't have 100 million right now. All the company funds are tied up in projects. What about my personal account? Her face fell. Only 50 million. Suddenly, I felt so poor. The only daughter of a seafood tycoon, trapped in a dilemma by my own pride. I'll offer 200 million. A familiar voice cut through the air. I whirled around in shock. Felix stood there in a crisp black suit, his tie perfectly knotted, holding up his big card with an unflappable expression. I was dumbstruck, frozen like a goose. 200 million going once, 200 million going twice, 200 million going 3 times sold. Because of my momentary distraction, Morning Manor became someone else's private property. Oh, and this someone else wasn't just anyone, he was my husband. But how did he go from being a construction worker to a mysterious tycoon who casually spent 200 million to bid on Morning Manor? Could it be his boss sent him again? Looking at his gaze, his aura, his bearing, I felt like I'd missed something. Amanda noticed my frozen state and came over to console me. Oh, well, I didn't get it either. We're even. At least we gave someone else a chance. But that guy was so handsome. Wonder if he's taken. Of course he's taken by me. He's coming over. He's coming. Amanda excitedly pinched my arm. I stared blankly as Philip walked step by step toward me. Under the lights, his features were sharp and refined, his gaze piercing yet steady, radiating an aura of complete command. It was a stark contrast to his usual earnest, down-to-earth self. Before I could speak, he beat me to it. Madam, are you here to auction off fish? Damn it, my cover's blown. Selling fish? What kind of fish? Amanda watched the spectacle unfolding with relish. Ruby, when did you start selling fish? Sure, your uncle is an internationally renowned seafood magnate, but you wouldn't actually start your life experience by selling fish, would you? Shut up, you. Felix chuckled softly, but I could tell there wasn't a shred of humor in his eyes. I can't explain. My tongue tied in knots from nerves. General Manager Wilson, this is your painting. Also, could I get your autograph? As we stood facing off, a man approached, staring at Felix with admiration. General Manager Wilson? What General Manager Wilson? I asked. The man beamed proudly. General Manager Wilson of Gus Group. His grandfather was the head of the Chamber of Commerce back in the day, but General Manager Wilson didn't rely on his family. He built Gus Group renowned both domestically and internationally entirely on his own. Felix's handsome face darkened. I knew exactly why his expression soured. Because his cover had been blown. I smirked, arms crossed. Honey, care to explain? You said you were hauling bricks at the construction site. Turns out you were hauling gold bricks? Amanda finally caught on. You too are? I turned, smiling. Yes, I'm married. He's my husband, but soon. I glanced at Philly. Soon he'll be my ex-husband. At 11 p.m., my dad called from overseas. Sweetheart, did you snag that painting for me? I shot a look at the man beside me and whispered, there was a slight hiccup, but don't worry, Dad. You'll definitely have it by your birthday. After hanging up, I cut straight to the chase with Philly. Name your price. Perhaps we should first address our past actions, Phil countered, shifting the topic. I don't know if you've seen the movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Both were top-tier assassins in their field, but they fell in love and hid their identities from each other. Eventually, their cover blew, the couple fell out, and they nearly tore the house apart. But I'm a civilized person. I wouldn't do that. My eyes held no trace of humor. Felix, I lied to you, and you lied to me. We're even. He nodded. You have a point, but I want to know why you lied to me. Then why did you? I fired off 3 questions in rapid succession. You lied about working as a bricklayer on a construction site. You lied about making $5,000 a month. You lied about being your boss's driver. I bet that boss is actually you. And you? You lied about selling fish at the market. Lied about meeting a friend. Lied about that cheap downtown apartment for us. Looks like both the place and the company are yours. We fell silent. Because it was true. Amanda raised her hand from the back seat. I need to say something. I was surprised. Why aren't you out yet? Amanda beamed. Because you two were arguing so much you forgot about me. So Philly and I temporarily joined forces and kicked Amanda out of the car. Amanda stormed off, muttering curses. After calming down, I took the initiative to admit my mistake. All right, I admit I was wrong. The reason I hid my identity was because I wanted to find someone who truly loved me, not my money or my status. Felix stared at me silently. Then why did you hide it from me? His lips twitched. What if I had the same idea? My smile felt hollow. No matter what, we can't keep living together. Let's end this marriage here. Name your price for the estate. I'll sell everything I own to pay you off. With that, I opened the door and stepped out. Tonight, I didn't get any footage of the morning at the manor, and I lost a husband. On the way back, my mood was utterly desolate. Amanda called, buzzing like a mosquito. Ruby, what the hell happened? Tell me already. Curiosity killed the cat. I replied lifelessly, if you want the story so badly, pay me $1 million and I'll tell you. I'll pay. Just tell me. I grimaced. You're crazy. After hanging up, I gave a bitter laugh. Wasn't I crazy too? Crazy enough to lose my own heart in the end. The car pulled up to the apartment. Philly followed me out. I snapped. Why are you following me? He shot back. Who's following you? I'm going home. Home? He pointed upstairs. The top floor is mine. A herd of wild horses galloped through my mind. So he was my neighbor? The cleaning lady had mentioned someone with so many apartments they couldn't live in them all. This fox had been hiding deep enough. Now that his mask was off, he stopped pretending. What a jerk. I recalled that conversation we had. When I said I was moving to a new place, his response must have been this. Two adults, two wealthy adults, desperately pretending to be poor to prove their sincerity. How ridiculous. Felix, I want you to hand over the estate tomorrow morning. We'll settle the money then. Impossible, he murmured through thin lips. Tears nearly spilled from my eyes. Did he have to be so heartless? He stepped closer, lowering his gaze at me. Ruby, this painting is only for my future father-in-law. My fist clenched. Then let's go to City Hall tomorrow and get divorced. I said. Felix's expression darkened, his molars grinding. Ruby. Felix, I didn't back down. A shouting match? You think I'll lose to you? Fine. Divorce it is. Felix said, striding away. Idiot. Skip the elevator. Take the stairs. Climbing to the top floor will kill you. The next morning, I arrived at City Hall with everything prepared. But after waiting for ages, he still hadn't shown up. I called him. Sorry, overslept, he said. I glanced at the time. It was almost noon and the staff were about to break for lunch. Then come now. We'll wait until afternoon. Sure, we can have a farewell lunch together. Staring at the elaborate lunch spread before me, I sneered. Does your farewell dinner look like a proposal dinner? Felix nodded, dropped to one knee, pulled out a diamond ring. Is that okay? I eyed him skeptically. I'll ask you a few questions. Answer honestly. He nodded earnestly. Did you cover all the child surgery costs and expenses? He nodded. I snorted. You're such a show-off. I was going to help them too, but you beat me to it. It's only $800,000. I could afford more than him. Yes, I'll go to the hospital later and cover all the child's future tuition and living expenses. I absolutely cannot fall behind Philly. Did you sign the cooperation agreement with our company because of me? Philly shook his head. At first, I didn't know you were the owner of Treasure Company. I just looked at your company's development direction and philosophy and thought it was worth collaborating with. It has potential. That's music to my ears. The corners of my mouth lifted slightly, but I quickly suppressed the smile. Felix, a few days ago, I told my dad. I said I'd been hiding the truth from you, unsure how to tell you. One lie requires countless others to cover it up. But with someone you love, you should be open-hearted, not deceitful. Felix fell silent. After a long pause, he said in a low voice, Ruby, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry too. I replied. The next day, Felix knocked on my door. I greeted him with bedhead. What's up? He said, my place lost power. Can I use your bathroom to take a shower? I crossed my arms, teasing him deliberately. Oh, you work on construction sites every day, right? How come you can't even fix a circuit breaker? Are you faking it? Instead, he looked at me with pleading eyes. Stared at by those almond-shaped eyes, I felt a bit overwhelmed. What are you staring at? Never seen a pretty girl before? I snapped dryly. He nodded readily. Yeah, never seen one. I made to close the door, but he wedged his foot against it. Ruby, you really won't forgive me? I admit I was wrong. I shouldn't have lied to you. He told me his story. After hearing it, I felt a bit moved too. He said that while studying abroad, his girlfriend dumped him because he kept a low profile. Later, after learning his true identity, she tried to take him back. Ever since then, he approached people with a degree of suspicion. Truthfully, I had no right to stand on moral high ground, because I had lied to him too. One was the daughter of a seafood tycoon, yet claimed to be a fish vendor. One from a wealthy merchant family, yet claiming to be a construction laborer. Where was the basic trust between people? But from now on, let's be honest with each other. No more deceit, okay? Filey took my hand, his gaze as sticky as maltose. Give us a chance. If you agree, I'll give the estate to my father-in-law first thing tomorrow. This guy really knows how to strike where it hurts. My dad's birthday was coming up soon. If he didn't see his birthday present, he'd probably throw a fit. I shamefully nodded. Felix smiled with relief. With our masks stripped away, we stopped pretending. Normally, Philly would rise at 5 and be ready for work by 6. But now it was 9, and he was still sprawled in bed, his iron arms wrapped around me. I pinched him. The sun's already high in the sky. Get to work. He nuzzled my neck, whining, just a little longer, I scoffed. Back when we wore masks, you were up before the roosters crowed. Felix scrambled up, looking aggrieved. Honey, haven't you forgiven me yet? Sigh. Fine. I've been hiding from him that I get up before dawn every day to sell fish at the market too. Time to take care of your wife. He planted a kiss on me. Seeing I was about to swat him, he scrambled off the bed. I muttered curses at his retreating back. Who needs you to support me? I run my own company and my dad's the king of aquaculture. He glanced back at me with a smile while dressing, but I still want to support you. After getting dressed and eating breakfast, we headed to the garage together. He drove his Aston Martin. I drove my McLaren. It was just a competition over whose supercar had the deeper, more melodious roar. Honey, no speeding. I rolled my eyes at him. Then why did you dare race my little electric scooter when you were riding your bike? When I arrived at the office, my dad called, Hey, sweetie, tomorrow's Dad's birthday. Don't forget. Oh, and bring your husband along. Seeing my silence, he added, No worries. Our family treats everyone equally. Being poor isn't a crime. As long as he's a good person, that's all that matters. Me, Dad, actually, there's something I wanted to tell you. What is it? Just as I was about to speak, my assistant called out, Boss, there's a Mr. Philly here to see you. He doesn't have an appointment. Honey, go ahead and handle that. Dad hung up. Show him in. Felix entered holding a bouquet of blue roses. His eyes twinkled with amusement as he surveyed my office. So this is where my wife sells fish every day. Not bad at all. Not as fancy as your office. Yours isn't half bad either. That watch on your wrist new purchase, right? Must have cost a few million. And that bracelet on your wrist looks nice too. I recall it's a limited edition, right? Our assistant was already dazzled by our mutual admiration. Why come see me during work hours? I asked him while glancing up from my documents. He didn't speak, leaning on his hands and quietly watching me. Why are you staring? My wife is truly captivating when she works. His thin lips parted slightly, his eyes sparkling. I flashed a toothy grin. You're not half bad yourself, quite charming when you're laying bricks. Felix shook his head. Seems we can't forget that incident. But I wasn't really laying bricks. That construction site truly was mine. I went there every day to work. On my father's birthday, I brought Felix to the gathering. When Felix presented the estate he'd given him that morning, my father beamed as he accepted it. My daughter is truly remarkable. I whispered to my dad, I'm not amazing at all. I didn't get that painting. Your son-in-law ended up paying $200 million for it. My dad looked stunned. Did I hear that right? My son-in-law spent $200 million? Where did a bricklayer get that kind of money? I sighed. Dad, because he's laying gold bricks. Upon learning that Phil had concealed his identity for the same reason as me, my dad lectured him earnestly. Son-in-law, we men should be straightforward. No matter what happens, you must never deceive your wife again. Now, tell me everything. If you lie again, your kids won't have buttholes. Father-in-law, you're ruthless. Epilogue, after Phil and I shed our secret identities, life returned to normal. Still, we often teased each other about it. Like when I headed to the office, Phil would smirk. Honey, off to sell fish again today? I'd roll my eyes at him. And you? Off to haul gold bricks at the construction site? Oh, I'm meeting Amanda for afternoon tea. Ma'am, I've got an online meeting tonight too. We shared a knowing smile. At the cafe, after hearing my story, Amanda looked disappointed. That's it, I nodded. That's it. Pay up. Amanda scowled. What a boring story. Not worth $1 million at all. The story might not be worth it, but the storyteller's worth is another matter. I smiled warmly at my poor, gullible best friend. 3 years later, I gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl. From the start, Phil and I taught them they must always tell the truth. No lies, no fibs. Whoever lied would have to swallow 1,000 needles. One day, our preschooler came running to us in tears. Mom and Dad, I'm doomed. I have to swallow 1,000 needles. What happened? Our daughter approached, her voice sweet and childlike. Brother lied to the girl he likes. He said Grandpa sells fish, Mom sells fish, and Dad is a bricklayer. I pressed my hand to my forehead.